the Auld Triangle with a fancy new overlay. Shout out to Harry Powell for sorting us out with that. Looking all fancy in this bitch. As always, I'm back with Andy Stevenson and Caoilte de Barra. We're going to take you through episode 17 and talk about a bunch of different topics. Dylan Tuke joins us today to talk about what's next for him and a couple of other things as well. Really looking forward to everybody getting a chance to listen to that. A great interview, as always, from Dylan. We're going to talk some Bellator. We'll talk the Euros. We'll talk some past action. Andy, Caoilte, how are you keeping, lads? What's the crack, Andy? Have you been up to much lately? Any strange in your world?
I'm living in SPG at the moment, it seems. I'm just back there. Spent about 4 hours there earlier on this evening. Nice.
Doing some great work there now over on the YouTube channel for Bellator Dublin too, which we'll talk about later on. But yeah, credit to you, man. You're getting all the interviews there. Is it building the anticipation for you getting to talk to all the fighters? It's getting close now. Yeah. It's after sneaking up on us, isn't it?
It is. It's. I think it's the first time I've ever been prepared for a Bellator Dublin though, where I'm actually like, right, there's always so many fighters that like we kind of want to get on Severe and stuff like that. So it's good to chat to people. But yeah, it was a good crack, good atmosphere down the gym. I was witness to Nahom Weddy and Pedro Carvalho verbally sparring for about 45 minutes there earlier on. So that was a bit of crack. So but yeah, what have you lads been up to? How are you, Caoilte?
I'm absolutely wrecked. No, like it's late enough, but you're happy enough now, can't complain. Getting on with things as always, you know yourselves.
Yeah, it's a late one today. We have a little bit off time for our normal recording time, so the fair play to the lads there. Yeah, hey, come on now. Can't talk to me about scheduling. I haven't missed one of these yet, so I'll just leave it that way. So I'm glad the two of yous are all right. We'll talk about Bellator. Just throwing shots there. Sorry, lads.
Fuck me.
I don't know. I went really
facts don't care about feelings.
We'll talk Bellator Dublin a little bit later on, but first we're going to talk about Virtus MMA, which went down recently. A really good card up in Noma, Northern Ireland. And I don't know, lads, I was talking to you before after watching a couple of these fights. There was something in the water up there in Noma because a lot of these guys woke up and chose violence. Lots of finishes on the card, lots of great fights as well. A couple of standout performances. Damien McKenna picked up the win in the main event. Ball Buckley, another great win. Gary Rooney and Kieran Coogan winning in the Grand Prix as well, amongst the other bunch of fights, including those fights and maybe a few others. Caoilte, what are some of the standout performances from you?
Jesus, where do we even start? Like you can, if you cut out all the like walk-ins and everything, you can fly through this card in less than an hour, I'd say. They, as you said, they chose violence. I'll start early enough in the card and then kind of make way up to a few good ones. But from what I saw, Jordan Carragher, I'm pretty sure it was him anyway. I've written down here. He won via TKO, but he broke his arm in the middle of the fight. So he put up an Instagram where you see like we can see the break in his arm from the X-ray. But he actually won the fight. I think it happened in the first round. I was reading the post and I was absolutely blown away by it. I watched the fight as well and I was thinking, it makes it even more impressive that he managed to get the win afterwards. So yeah, massive props in for that. That was really impressive. Jack Thorne with this mad armbar. It looked like both arms were in, made no sense whatsoever. Pulled it off and got the tap. I was thoroughly impressed. I need to go back and watch it again because I have no idea what was going on there, but it was fantastic to watch. Who else I'm impressed by? I mentioned him before on the last podcast. I'm going to mention him on this one. Senan Coakley went out there, Craig Coakley's brother, who also won the weekend. Shout out to Craig Coakley. But Senan went out there, looked class in the feet. You can tell you can tell they're brothers anyway. The striking ability looked fantastic on the feet. And good debut. He's back in action. I think he's got 2 more fights booked. So another one to keep an eye on. But fuck me, I can keep going all day here, lads.
Yeah, you could nearly name a lot of these guys on the card.
I have one special one. I have one special one here now.
Tell us.
I have what's it called? Is it Fufu from Flobitaire Fares from SPG Cork? He got himself an Auld Triangle choke. and it was absolutely
Hey,
we haven't had the chance to celebrate an Auld Triangle choke
and
here for
the
a while.
Auld Triangle.
It's been about 2
he
episodes now, lad.
He was fucking flipping the birds on top of the cage after that fight. I don't know, and shouting obscenities down at someone in the crowd. I don't know what he was doing. Yeah, I saw him up on the cage, and he was giving the fingers and shouting down at somebody. I couldn't see who it was, obviously, on the video, but yeah,
it's inner Nick Diaz coming out.
There you go. Yeah, living it up. But yeah, that was his first fight back in a little while too. So it was good to see him back in the win column as well. Anything stick out with you? I know you got a chance to watch him back a few of the fights as well. You know, any standout performances for yourself?
Yeah, I mean, like, you know, repeating myself with most of these fight cards in Irish MMA, but Gary Rooney again. I'm just really like, every time I see him fight, I just kind of get more and more impressed. His ability to just adapt in fights, like a lot of people talk about, you know, the fighting in transition. He's just brilliant. Like, he's brilliant. He was described brilliantly by the commentators as the Roy Keane of amateur Irish MMA, in that he, you know, it's not the flashiest, but it's just everything is very technically sound in every area, and he looks brilliant. So Gary Rooney is the standout for me.
Yeah, definitely a really good performance. I think Paul Buckley had a great performance, a great submission in his fight against Callum Peace in the co-main event. Landed a big overhand right at the start of that fight, was in control on top for most of the first round, and the same for round two. Got it down, got the submission as well. So really good. And Damien McKenna looked great in the main event too. Obviously, you know, highly anticipated main event up there, close to home for him. And yeah, got the job done. Really impressive by Damien. He bounced back from his last defeat, and yeah, picked up a nice KO.
33 seconds or something.
Yeah, it's down as a KO TKO, but
no, that's wrong. It was a guillotine.
Submission is guillotine, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was.
He was kind of like he kind of locked the guillotine, or started to lock the guillotine up against the cage, and then he almost like kind of like jumped guard as
I think your man lifted him into guard, to be honest.
It was like half takedown, half jumping into guard that kind of sealed his fate.
Yeah, it was questionable defense, but like, that's not Damien's fault. He kind of took advantage of that and got the choke pretty well. So credit to him and fair play to him as well. And you know, that was a great card overall. We were talking about Firth just before it went down. Really great idea having the Grand Prix and all that kind of stuff there. And it seems that a couple of the other promotions are kind of taking up that mantle as well, and we'll talk about a couple of more tournaments maybe a little bit later on in the podcast. But I'll move it over to you, Andy, just to speak about Andreeas Binder, who got a great win at Cage Fight Series. Opponent came in overweight, broke his hand during the fight, but still managed to come away with the win, and a really impressive win. And it's great to see Andreas back in the win column as well. Give us a quick breakdown of that fight.
Yeah, absolutely. I thought Andreas kind of looked in control throughout the fight, to be honest. So I was very confused when I saw the result here, because it was 30-26, 29-27 and 29-27, and I was like, what the fuck what the fuck has gone on here? And it turns out he got, because his opponent missed weight, there was some sort of clause or an agreement basically with management. This is the only time I shout you out, Paul Fogarty. Fair play to you, because his manager, Paul Fogarty, a one-hit management, managed to get him not only just part of his opponent's purse, but also there was an agreed upon where his opponent had to weigh in a certain amount at, say, 11 a.m. the next day on fight day, and then and a certain amount getting into the cage, and he didn't. So he started with a point deduction. So Andreas won all three, or well, I thought Andreas won all 3 rounds. The first one was quite, you know, he ate a lot of punches, he ate a lot of shots, but I thought he was dishing out more than he was taking. And I thought as the fight, you know, progressed, he kind of grew into it more and more, and had a really dominant third round, and to me it looked like a fairly comfortable decision. I thought he won all 3 rounds, but I guess two of the judges thought that, I'm assuming it was round 1, maybe round 2, but I just didn't see him losing around there, to be honest. I don't know if either of you saw it or had, if you thought he lost any of the rounds. First
of all, fair play to Paul for getting that clause in anyway. He didn't need it in the end, thankfully, Andreas. But you know, about the slow start, it's hard coming back off a loss as well. You know, you'll have a lot of doubt and stuff like that. So it seemed that Andreas kind of settled into the fight and kind of got more comfortable and got more confident as well as the fight
broke his hand too.
Yeah, broke his hand as well. So I don't know. I don't think it's going to be as quick of a turnaround for Andreas after breaking the hand as normal, but
yeah, like they squared them, or did they square them? I can't even remember if they squared them off.
they did for sure.
They
They did.
Like he's supposed to be fighting in October. That's not happening. But so hopefully they just push that back. And then they fight in the final. But yeah, like there's no way. Like I know he broke kind of the part where like the hand meets the wrist, I guess.
The metatarsal as the hand as well. Not bro science right here. That's what it looked like, isn't it? It's kind of like the part right there. It's tricky enough.
So like I think he's going to be in a cast for about 5 weeks. Like there's no chance he's in that October card.
Not a chance at all. I'm sure you're as equally as impressed, Caoilte.
Sorry, I was on mute. Yeah, no, it was good. I think when Andy was saying it, like, Andy, you said you thought he won all three. The first, I think, may have been the one he took one or two big shots in the first. But like considering your man came out swinging early in that, like they were both fairly tired in that third round, and rightfully so. They put on a fairly good show, to be fair. Looked good, really good way to bounce back from a loss, that, to be honest. And I loved his post-fight speech as well. He was really loving the audience and telling Austria how he loved them. And fair play to Paul. He's not only getting a shout out on the commentary, he's getting a shout out by the Auld Triangle now as well.
Much more important, and influential.
Absolutely. You said it, lads. Caoilte, I'm going to stick with you for Nadine Abbott-Bissett. She didn't have the best of starts to her professional career, unfortunately. Dropped a decision by 29-28 against Ariana Melendez on her debut, Combat Global, last Friday. It was a tough one for her to take on her debut. What are your thoughts on the fight overall?
Yeah, tough debut. Got into a bit of a firefight, so it was pretty much a stand-up battle for the most part. Lost the first 2 rounds. Looked a bit what's it called? Tired in the second round near the end of it, and then in the third round, won the third round. Then looked a bit better then. But yeah, really tough debut. But it's one of those things. I tell you what, if you were a neutral fan, it was a great watch. If you're a neutral fan, you didn't pick one side or the other. It's a good watch because it just looks like two people that are just absolutely going for it. They were scrapping each other like they owed each other money. Yeah, look, it's a tough loss. But she's had 3 opponent changes, so it's hard to when you're having all these changes. Well, it is tough. But do
you think the weight had a part to play, Caoilte?
Well, your one now. I actually watched your one Ariana Melendez's strawweight pro fight, and she didn't look out of size there either. And it was the same, that right hand that overhand right that was landing money in the strawweight fight as well, which she was having a lot of success with there as well. But yeah, I imagine that could have played a factor.
Kind of looked like that to me during the fight, that Nadine was getting a little bit outstrengthened in some positions as well, which, for someone who said before the fight that she wanted to take the fight down, maybe it was in those clinches or in those exchanges when she was trying to do it, she found that maybe Melendez was a little bit too strong there, which ultimately led her to having to stand and bang with her. But maybe she was saying that she wanted to take her down because she did want to stand and bang. You have to take everything with a pinch of salt, I guess. But I thought, yeah, you're spot on. It was a firefight, a very entertaining fight as well, definitely for a neutral point of view. I thought she ate a couple of calf kicks that kind of made her struggle a little bit on the feet as well, and took them pretty hard. And she was kind of a little bit, I saw pictures of her in a wheelchair and stuff the next day. So that they had a big impact. But Jesus, Nadine is as tough as nails. She stayed fighting on all 3 rounds. The decision was the correct one, just to show the heart, even to come back and win in round 3 was good, as Melendez seemed to be getting tired as well, because, Nadine had that pace that she always sets. If she could have just maybe secured that takedown as well, it would have made things very interesting for me in that fight as well. What are some of your takeaways, Andy?
Yeah, I kind of agree with a lot of what you guys are saying here. My biggest takeaway was just the size. Like I was kind of, it's always been a bit not worrying, but it's not common the way kind of you see Nadine entering fight weeks where she's having these big pancake breakfasts and like no care in the world about weighing in, because she's not even naturally an atom weight, really. Like, if we're honest, like she's probably a weight class below, and I think it kind of showed. I don't know, like I'd be interested to hear from Nadine how she felt in there. I was expecting her to maybe you know, kind of, she's so prolific off the back. And it's her jiu-jitsu that I feel like has been kind of her strongest asset to date. So I was surprised that it was just a full strike and war. I just felt that her opponent was kind of had the better timing, was a little bit quicker, and was landing the harder punches for the most part. You know, obviously Nadine was landing a lot of strikes back, but it wasn't in the same volume, and I felt that she was kind of getting caught. I just thought that her opponent was timing her quite well. Melendez was timing her quite well as she kind of exited and kept catching her with the same shots a lot of the time. So I'd be interested to hear what Nadine thought of the performance. And, you know, maybe I know Andy Ryan, I don't think was there, or Siri was there, and I'm sure I know she was working a lot with Siri, so maybe she was kind of had been focusing a lot on her stand up and a lot on her boxing maybe, and was looking to kind of to show that off. But yeah, I think she lost fair and square, and it was a bit surprising, and I'd be interested to kind of like, I don't know, it's hard to base off one fight, but like I feel that long term she probably needs to put on a bit of size, because if she is up against, say, you know, someone who's just as skillful as her, then if they're cracking harder, like that's
or even if they're stronger, Andy, I mean, having that strength disadvantage in a fight, it just, you can outmuscle your way out of positions. Your technique doesn't have to be as good. You know, you talked about the striking exchanges in that fight. Someone who is a little bit heavier is going to be landing. Nadine got off a lot of strikes as well, and hit Melendez a lot. But like you said, I feel that Melendez's shots were more impactful in those exchanges, and that's what the judges are going to be looking out for. And look, I spoke to Nadine before the fight, and you know, we did have a laugh and a joke about the breakfast thing and everything like that, but I did ask her, was it something that she worried about with the weight going in, because it was something I was curious about myself, because you know, her talking about how light she is and how easy it is to make weight. But a lot of the time in the professional ranks, we're going to have fighters who are walking around much heavier than what they are weighing in at, and then they're going to be reloading water and going into the octagon heavier than that. So I would be curious to know, number one, what Melendez weighed inside the octagon, inside the cage at Combate. But yeah, it's definitely something that I would be looking towards as well, is looking, and it'll naturally come for Nadine as well, like she said, but putting on that size, I think, is going to be key for her success in there.
You know, well, you don't want to start off losing your first pro fight, but long term, maybe no harm. Maybe this would be kind of like, okay, right, something's gone wrong here, and now we need to assess. And you know, we're all, and pretty much everyone in Irish MMA is so high in Nadine and kind of think very, very highly of her skill set, and it's such an amazing amateur run. That I think she'll I think she'll adapt and overcome. But you know, the team kind of needs to take a step back and be like, okay, well, what went wrong here? Was it just an off night, or are there changes that need to be made?
100%.
Not taken away from the opponent either. The opponent was tough.
No, Melendez is very
good. She looks like she'll do well in that division and in Combate, like.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. A tough task, but a learning curve for Nadine, and we wish her the best and speedy recovery, and we look forward to seeing her back in there again, whenever that may be. Real quick, at KSW 74, Pavel Palicko lost to Werleson Martins. Really, I had the chance to watch the fight back on Saturday. I've not had the chance to rewatch it to give like a certain kind of an opinion on it, but I did think at the time watching it firstly that Pavel was a little bit unlucky not to take home the win there. So he'll be disappointed with that, but I'm sure he'll be back and he'll definitely fight in KSW again.
He's had no luck with decisions.
No, really.
I think those two Ratchich decisions are just, I think he won both them, to be honest, yeah, and like I feel bad for him. It's another one.
Yeah, it's tough to take for sure for Powell, but he'll be back hopefully and getting back into the win column soon. Shawnee Schuler, Johnny Walker, honorary Irishman now at this stage, lads, came out with the Irish gear in the UFC, so we have to give him a shout out on the podcast. He's one of ours now. We're going to take over him. Unfortunately, you lost him as a countryman, Caoilte, being a Brazilian yourself. But
forgot about that.
He went in there against Ian Kutalaba and put on a really polished performance, really good performance. Showed that he has a more well-rounded game, not just about a knockout. I was impressed that he didn't panic when he got taken down early, got himself positioned, got the lovely sweep, and went on and secured a really nice rear naked choke there. It's great to see Johnny back in the win column as well. 1 win and 5 the pressure was against him there going into that fight. So he secures his top 10 spot in the light heavyweight division in the UFC, and a good win.
Fair play to him for making a bit of money as well as a street performer outside the hotel.
As well, they got kicked out into the streets, as the NOI called it as well, and picked up a bonus as well. So I think there was a little bit of resentment maybe towards getting kicked out into the cold, but I think, or maybe you're not getting kicked out into the cold really in Las Vegas, you're getting kicked out into the heat, but he picked up the $50,000 bonus as well, so I think all may be forgiven in the long run.
Could you imagine just like strolling out of a Vegas casino like steaming drunk, and you just see Johnny Walker, like fucking 6'3" or whatever he is, built from granite stone there, basically after losing your bollocks playing blackjack, you walk out and see a big Johnny Walker with the gloves on ready to go. It must be a sight to behold. Caoilte, just give us a quick update on some of the amateur action that has happened over the last couple of weeks.
There's a few here. So on contenders, Jordan Amb won via unanimous decision. He's actually based over in the UK, and one that I randomly found was Derek McKeown was on the same card, but he lost submission, that one. And then On Top MMA happened in Scotland. Didn't get to watch it, just saw the results. Friend was at it, and he said he was giving me some feedback on some of the Irish fighters, and he was impressed by all of them. So I think there was 2 wins for Caoilte MMA. I have the article here. So who is it? I want to give him a shout out. Monty Belasis. I'm sorry if I butchered your name. And then from Hulan MMA, Georgia Grotsav. He won via TKO on first. Grotsav, sorry, butchering these. And then there was one more as well from Caoilte. Lisa Houston lost a decision. And then someone else from Caoilte who I can't find. So I'm just going to pass it over to you guys. But they had another win as well.
Fair play to them all. Congratulations on those wins. As we move on to some of the newsworthy items that has happened over the last couple of weeks as well. And the first big one is the announcement of it was a pretty big one. We have someone coming into the kind of promotional side. Cian Caoilte is bringing Era FC into the front door, and Andy, you're going to be talking to him pretty soon, but this is another new addition. They're going to hold a show in Dublin, I think, at the end of the year as well, and it's another welcome addition into the Irish MMA scene and Muay Thai scene as well. Yeah,
absolutely. Cian Caoilte, like, he's put on many a show on the Muay Thai scene and K1 over the years with his show. Was it Warrior? I can't remember. Is it Warrior? Is it just called Warriors Fight Night? Or anyway, he's put on loads of shows, but he's stepping into the MMA promoting now, which is great. So their first show is going to be Friday, December 2nd. We don't know where it is yet, but I'm hoping to speak to Cian for Severe over the next few days. Interestingly enough, one of the kind of the notes that I was like, ooh, this could be interesting is Noel O'Keefe. Famed Irish MMA commentator who recently retired is coming, I wouldn't say back out of retirement, but semi out of retirement for
hashtag
for this
MMA
show.
Commentary retirements there from Noel.
Yeah, so like I don't think we'll be seeing him on every show, but for Era FC I think he'll be not only commentating, but also he's going to be matchmaker. So I think that's a great idea. Like, no better man, someone who's been commentating on the Irish scene for many years, knows the fighters inside and out. And I expect that some solid competitive matchmaking. And I would bet I'll be interested to hear what Cian says if I do get down to interview him this week. I wouldn't be surprised if he fights it himself.
Yeah, that's what I'm curious. I'm curious to kind of find that out. Are we going to be concentrating on amateur? Is there going to be a couple of professional fights? Look, we talked about time and time again on this podcast about the difficulty of putting on pro fights in the Republic right now.
With Thai boxing, it's all different though, so I'd say there'll be a load of them on that card.
Yeah, probably will. You would expect Cian maybe to be fighting in Muay Thai and not in mixed martial arts then? Is that what?
Oh no, I'd imagine if he used to fight, I'd say he'd fight in MMA. I think that's his thing now. But I'd say he's a load of fighters himself that would be competing in the Muay Thai side of the card.
Yeah,
for sure, big time.
Lots of questions, I suppose. that hopefully we can get some answers to soon enough. But yeah, it's going to be grappling, Muay Thai, MMA, and the messaging that I was getting was this is going to be kind of for the fighters, by the fighters, a fighter first promotion. So yeah, look, we don't really know a whole lot of details just yet, but we know it's going to be in Dublin Friday, December 2nd, and I think that's the same weekend that Cage Legacy is on. I think Cage Legacy is the 4th, is it maybe? So a big weekend in Irish MMA.
It'll be busy that weekend, lads. Ur have announced a one-night amateur featherweight tournament for their next card, and it's a fantastic tournament as well. Rory Lafferty, Andrew Barrett, Armin Herzog, and Damien McKenna all going in there for a one-night tournament. 2 fights one night. The winner leaves with the Ur featherweight title. Jesus Christ, that's Ur. Sorry, Decky. Ur. I think that's a great tournament there, isn't it, Caoilte?
Sorry, I can't get over how you say Ur. Yeah, no, it's absolutely class.
That's the Canadian coming out with me now, lads.
Ur, eh?
I think 3 of them are actually heading over to the Euros as well, you know. But yeah, no, I always like Decky's matchmaking. Like he told us, he just makes fights that he wants to see, and it's absolutely mint because this tournament is just perfect, I think. Yeah, no better way to put on a tournament than a one night one. The Grand Prix that did in Virtus is great, but I love one night tournaments. They're very kind of pride like almost. So yeah, it's fantastic. Looking forward to this one.
Pride never die. Pride.
It's great.
Die.
Like
or FC never die.
I'm just afraid to say the name again, to be honest.
Go on, say it.
Ur.
That was pretty good.
Yeah,
that was pretty
lad.
good. Yeah, that's pretty good.
We're getting there, lads.
We need a sound effect. Go ding. But this one, I really like the competitive nature of this one. With the generally just with flyweights, like there's not as much competition. So with the Virtus one, it worked out perfectly from my selfish perspective, where I wanted to see Kieran Coogan and Gary Rooney in the final, and it just kind of worked out that way with the draw. I thought that they were the 2 strongest competitors in there. With this one, I feel like it's very, very competitive across the board. Would you have any thoughts on picking a winner? We can stick our necks out here.
Oh, early days, yeah. I mean,
I'll go first. The King of Hell.
I'd say, yeah, I'd be looking at the King of Hell. If there was betting on that tournament, I'd say he'd probably go in there as the favorite for sure. I think so. Caoilte?
Yeah, I'd say he'd go in as the favorite, but these one night things are ridiculous. Like you never know what could happen.
You need to pick someone else, so that way we only 50% of the fighters get mad at us.
No. Hold on a second. I just said might be favorite. That wasn't my pick. Well, Rory Lavery's the champion, you know. So I'm gonna stick with the champ.
I love it. Brilliant. Our good friends at Premier FC have announced a day up in Dublin for December, Andy, close to your neck of the woods. You're delighted. Can't be as good as the last one down in Kilkenny. Definitely not the place that it's being held, but I'm sure the card will be as savage as ever for Premier FC. Not too much details about that yet, but it is on. Andy, you have a couple of details. The date escapes me right now.
It's the 10th, so it's the 10th. It's Saturday, the 10th of December in Kilnamana Centre which I'm not sure if Kilnamana Centre actually exists. I think it's like Kilnamana Sports and something. Anyway, but
that's the same place that Cage Legacy was held.
Yes.
Okay.
So same place there, and yeah, in Dublin, Andy Hickey, who great man for his Irish MMA schedules. Big shout out to Andy Hickey, is fuming because he's a Tipperary man.
Devastated.
They've like everything in Ireland. If you want it done right, you bring it to Dublin.
No.
Moving on. Moving on.
Here's my no. I have an issue with this one now. Like you set up and you set up in Tip and you have one in Clonmel, that's grand, and then you go and Kilkenny, perfect as well. But then you go Dublin.
Waterford, you bring it to the premier county, Dublin.
Witt Arena is literally the perfect place. I was saying to them, the DMs, I was like, go to Waterford, please.
Oh, it's a brilliant venue. I remember a couple of events going down there back in the day. It's the place right beside the Dome Bar in the college.
Yeah, that's it.
And it's unreal. That's an unreal spot, and it has the bar, has everything there. Yeah, it's class. I'm sure that's going to happen eventually there.
Some GA hall up in Dublin, I tell you.
Yeah,
but the people walk on their hands down there, no?
Oh,
Jesus
well,
Christ.
how dare you, Andy Stevenson?
Hold
How
on now.
dare
Team
you?
Rhino
We'll
Waterford
give you a
will be after
virtual
you.
smack here now across the side of the head.
Some nerve, lad.
Some nerve, some nerve.
I can't believe you said that, Ian.
I can't believe you said that. You're going to pay some hell for that comment, Andy Stevenson. Caolan Loughran versus Luke Shanks at Cage Warriors, lads.
Oh my.
Stop.
That was some scoop you got there, Ian. That is a
we
scrap.
just got it out in time, and I was delighted that we got the news. There was a lot of things up in the air in the background. We got the news out just before the official announcement, but that is going down at Cage Warriors 145 in November. And Jesus, lads, that's an absolutely unbelievable fight. And you would have to say, you know, there's a lot of talk and a lot of stuff that have been said about Caolan, but he's got in there and he's performed in these last 2 Cage Warriors fights. He deserves a fight like this, and I think he's ready. And I think this is going to be a very good competitive fight. And I wouldn't be too surprised to see Caolan getting his hand raised. He has that belief in himself, but this is by far his toughest test to date so far. And oh man, I can't wait to see this fight. I can't wait for the build-up. Can't wait to talk to him ahead of the fight. Hope I might even try to get a chance to talk to Luke if that's possible. But I mean, this is it, lads. This is a great domestic fight. I think it can only but deliver this fight. Any extra thoughts apart from that?
Just a banger of a scrap. I mean, like Luke, I think you said it very well there that Luke Shanks is far and away the toughest test of Caolan Loughran's in his career. Like, this is a guy who was former champion of Cage Warriors. He was on the precipice of even, there's rumors of him, you know, having offers for UFC Paris, this type of stuff. So like this is a significant step up. Caolan Loughran puts his neck out there. Doesn't make himself a lot of mates on the Irish scene, and there's a lot of people expecting him to go in here and lose. To be perfectly honest, that's the kind of the feedback that I've been getting from fighters. But I think, like, say what you want about Caolan Loughran, whatever. Like, we've talked ad nauseum and with Caolan even about his previous opponents. That's no more. Like, you can't use that anymore. Like, he's going in now and he's fighting. Okay, fair enough. Maybe even if you're still not impressed by the recent ones at Cage Warriors, Luke Shanks is fucking legit. So if he goes in and beats him here, this is a huge statement. And then I think if he wins this fight, he should be fighting for a title. And then it's away to the races from there. Absolute banger. Absolute banger indeed.
A great matchup. But unfortunately, there's been some not great matchups made lately as well on the scene. You know, lately there's been a bit of criticism. There's been a bit of firing over and back. You know, we always have to call it down the line as we see it. And, you know, a couple of recent fights that we've spoken about on here and that we'll probably speak about again right now have been matched up lately where they're just looking like plain mismatches on paper. I know we talked about the Alexander O'Sullivan matchup and stuff like that. That was there on Cage Conflict and a couple of others as well. Andy, what are your thoughts on this? I know that you took a bit of flack online after the last episode about that, some of the matchups on the Cage Conflict card that's coming up pretty soon.
Jeez, it's a sign in the right direction that I can't even remember the flack that I got. I got so much flack with an Irish MMA. Yeah, look, I mean, like, it's they're not the end of the world. Like, this isn't. I'm not like angry, or I don't really care that much, but it's not a good look. Like, it's when you have people going in facing 0-4 fighters, and it's not just Cage Conflict. Like we'll talk, you'll hear from Dylan Tuke later on. Like, Dylan Tuke's is a mismatch as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, 100%.
That's Cage legacy. The fights over in Centurion FC not too long ago, they were mismatches. A few of them. It's happening a lot, and it's not the end of the world, like what we're saying. But it's just the point that I kind of make is, you look at the fights and you see, right, fighter A versus fighter B, except you know who's going to win. And like, you can make your arguments, like I know, like Ryan Curtis, for example, I fully expect him to go in there and finish his opponent. I expect Dylan Tuke to go in there and finish his opponent. I expect Alexander O'Sullivan to go in there and finish his opponent. There's a difference between, you know, like a can, if you want to say, like, I'd say in the UK MMA scene, like someone who goes in just to lose. I actually don't think some of the guys are necessarily that. But when you've been finished in every fight, which some of them have, you're expecting the other fighter to win. Like, I think highly of Ryan Curtis. I know he's kind of going through a rough patch in his career, but I think highly of him as a fighter. I think he's way superior to fighting someone like this record. And maybe he's in a rut and he needs to get a win, but I just don't see you need your audience to buy into fights. Like you can't, if you're putting on events and you think, right, I know who's going to win here, well then what's the point in us tuning in?
And we don't want to pick on anyone or any promotion. No. And we will come on to this podcast and we will say whoever's doing a great job. But we also have to come on to this podcast and say, if we don't agree with something as well, we have to do that.
And it's 90%, more than 90% of the time, it's perfect. And I love, like, say we're talking about Cage Conflict there. I love what Cage Conflict are doing. I love that they're bringing pro fights. I love that they're bringing fighters in from abroad. I love the setup they do, the kind of the fun night, kind of like almost like a nightclub style that they have. It's good crack. And the same with Cage, like each promotion has their own benefits and their positives. But you have to kind of call this stuff out too, and they've got other fights on the same cards that these are on that are great. But these are just kind of ones that stick out like a sore thumb a bit.
Yeah, indeed. And Caoilte, I just want to bring you in because you kind of got a up close and personal look of something similar happening on the UK MMA scene as well, where you got plenty of matches happening. And I guess all of our fears that we don't want Irish MMA to go down the same road. Yes, you have guys who are not willing to fight each other. Yes, it's hard to get matchups as well. There's a bunch of other different factors that go on, but the facts are the fights that have been made. And that's why you were talking about these now, but maybe just shine a little bit of light what has been happening maybe over the last couple of years on the UK MMA scene, like, because you've been involved with Tapology and has seen it kind of firsthand, some of the matchups that have went on there.
Yeah, Jesus Christ, the amount of abuse that comes with that is extraordinary. So, look, I think it's important to note that the Irish scene is a fucking long way away from the UK scene. UK scene, it's getting a lot better. I'll 100% say that. But my God, when I was doing the UK kind of results for Tapology, it was absolute chaos. It was a nightmare. You're literally just getting lads in from a place called Hands for Hire, and your man, I'm not going to say his name, I'm not going to give him what's it called?
Give him his due.
Yeah, no, I'm not gonna.
Doesn't matter. You don't need to. No,
anyway, so he used to you call him, you get a lad in from the streets, and they just throw him up and they go in for a pro fight and they lose in 6 seconds after taking a leg kick. Like that's how bad the UK scene has gotten. Now, one or two have spilled over into Ireland. I know two of them that came to Ireland, and you just look at them and think, yeah, when I saw the names, I was thinking, why are you fighting UK journeyman? That's terrible. Now, that's a while ago, and it hasn't happened since. So I think that's an important thing to note. The Irish scene's not gotten that bad. They're just these are just mismatches. That's all it is, for the most part. Not all of them. I think some could be justified, but no, there's a lot of mismatches. And the only thing I would say is to add to what Andy was saying, because I think you covered it very well, Andy, is when you are flying people from abroad and you are putting that cost on yourself to fly people in from abroad, I would expect I'd expect a little better, especially this far out. If it was short notice, I can understand. Trust me, that's fine, as if that happens. But when you have weeks to prepare and match cards, months even, and you're flying people in who are from 0-4 from Italy, I imagine there could be someone else somewhere else around Europe as well with a better record that could be maybe a little bit more competitive, or that could test fighters a little bit more, show them a little bit different, not just lads who are, like Andy was saying, getting finished in the first round. Now, the fact, that's kind of the only really thing.
If you're like a coach, right? If you're a coach of one of these guys who's coming over, that guy who's fighting Alexander O'Sullivan, who's lost 4 of his fights, 4 knockouts, and you're sending him over to fight Alexander O'Sullivan in Ireland as well. I mean,
God help him.
There has to be questions asked about that as well, to be honest. And there was a lot of negativity drawn towards Dean Barry in the past as well for some of his opponents. And he had to take that fight at short notice, and I just. If you're going to have the same energy for one, you have to have the same energy for everybody. And, we'll always have the same energy, and we'll always call it as it is, whether people will agree with it or whether people don't, is their opinion, and we'll respect their opinion as well. But we thought with everything that was going on, that it was a great opportunity to bring on one of the fighters who has been matched up, and probably the most high profile mismatch that has been announced recently, and that was Dylan Tuke for an interview, maybe to just give a little bit of insight of what's been going on with him and his difficulty in getting matched and some of his reasons about taking the fight that he did at Cage Legacy later on this year. So without further ado, I think it's a great time to bring Dylan in to have a chat with us and to kind of break all things down and talk about a bunch of other stuff as well.
And now we're joined by the Nuke, Dylan Tuke, who is back in action Cage Legacy in December against Nikola Ivanovic. Dylan, how are you doing today, sir? You're just chilling there in your gaff, are you?
Yeah, just chilling, baked. Only got home from training. Just chilling the usual routine, home, food, play with me dogs, go to bed. Good out of life.
What are we working with? Indica or sativa here? What's the crack?
Fucking anything. Hayes, always Hayes. I'm a little D1 kid at heart, so Hayes.
Yeah. So how are you anyway? How's things overall? How's training going?
Good, same old. I'm just out, just doing the same shit that I always do, trying to get a matchup. How as fuck nowadays, people don't like fighting. It's a sin. But I think I have another matchup as well on the lineup in the next 4 weeks, hopefully, depending on how a couple of things go this week. And then I have your man in Cage Legacy. I don't know his name.
So look, we'll get straight into that. Gloves off, because we've already sparred a little bit back and forth. You're fighting Nikola Ivanovic. He's 0-4. Kind of what's your thoughts around? We kind of, it's not a matchup that we're excited to see you back, but it doesn't really tell us a whole lot if you win or lose, or well, if you win here. What are your thoughts on it?
Oh, if I fucking lose, it tells a bunch. If I lose, it tells a bunch. You know what I mean? It's one of those fights that it's everything for him to gain and everything for me to lose. Kind of thing. To be honest, I didn't know he was 0-4. I just took the matchup. I've been having a nightmare getting matchups. I've been in and out of a load of things in between signing up at KSW and then fucking contract negotiations with them and then TFL, and I was just in between trying to get names off anybody, like everybody and anybody. You know what I mean? I take all comers, but yeah, man, Nikolai accepted the fight and fair play to him. But he could still come out and chin me. You know what I mean? Anything could happen. Or I could come out and choke him or chin him or whatever the fuck. But it is what it is. It's just a strap, like, you know what I mean? Fuck it. You know what I mean? He'll be 0-5 with a good 5th loss on his record. Like, at least you can say that he lost to me.
Yes, is it just a case of you just want to stay active? You just need a fight, basically.
I didn't even know who he was. It was just, I had me nailed down. I had Declan McKenna was trying to match me for this show in September. Oh, I'm not messing, lads. To anybody and everybody ever since I was born. Probably sometimes to my own detriment of fights that I shouldn't have been in, and you know what I mean. And just it is what it is. But like, I can't get a matchup. It's hard to get anyone to fight me. It's hard to get anyone to jump the gun. Like, and then I think after I had the last fight, obviously with Nikolai, it wasn't like people were jumping at the gun to fight me again. Then I was scheduled to fight in KSW, and then there was just contract issues, and it's what it is. I'll hopefully have a fight before that in Ireland, which will be a very good and it'll be a very entertaining fight, and it'll be a little bit more of a, I don't know how to say, it'll look like it's going to be like an even match, like, if that makes sense on paper.
Competitive.
It won't be competitive, but yeah.
Be more competitive than the other one. Look, we were chatting like when the fight.
He'll give more of it.
Sorry, there's a bit of a delay there. We were chatting after the Ivanovic fight kind of came out, like, and look, we have to call it down the line, and you kind of are fully aware of the situation too, that it's kind of a little bit of a mismatch, but like, that's what a lot of people don't understand, is that you're struggling to get a fight. Like, you've had tons of fights that have been rejected over the last couple of months. You need to bulk up your record. There's organizations coming in and taking a closer look, telling you need more fights. So, I mean, it's a double-edged sword here. You need to fight, but the competition isn't there, and you're kind of stuck between a rock and a hard place, really, aren't you?
Yeah, but I couldn't give a fuck what anyone's saying. Like, you know what I mean? I need a believe what any little dope is saying that, and they're not saying it to me, like, because they're saying to me, I'd slap them across the face. I don't give a rat's. I fight anybody and everyone, always the same. I didn't know the cunt was on for. I don't give a rat's if he's on for. At least he's accepting the fight, so he's got more balls than most of the other cunts throwing it down. I mean, everyone throwing it down, left, right, and centre. Like big name camps, small name camps. I've been in touch with Sean Shelby. Well, not me. James has been in touch with Sean Shelby, so basically, all they want me to do is bump up my record. I'm not going to go out and fight shams. I just, you know what I mean? It just so happens that I'm fighting someone with a losing record for the first time in my career. So we'll see what's up. You know what I mean? I could still get chained. Anything can happen.
100%. Any care to share any of the names that were on the table over the last little while?
Nobody. Fucking nobody. Absolutely nobody. Deco was coming to me and he was like, "Oh, I'll get you a match for this show in September and I'll get you a match for this show in November." Blah, blah, blah. And I literally texted him back on, "Nobody's going to accept. Nobody's going to take the fight. Nobody's going to fight me." He was like, "No, I'll definitely get you someone." I was like, "No, they won't." I was like, "They won't." Like, James has been trying his hardest since I came to higher level, and that was a year and a half ago to try and get me fights. Like, it's not that easy. Like, you know what I mean? Most places want you to sign contracts and be a part of their organisation, this and the other. Like, you know what I mean? And it's just not feasible at the moment for me. Like, I'm not really bothered. Like, I don't really want to go and put me name to a dotted line of some company and then, you know what I mean, have to do this whole token or this boy bullshit. Like, you know what I mean? Because I'm not bothered. I'm getting too old for this bullshit. I just want to go and have a scrap. Let's go fight. I don't want to have to sit there and talk about how great I am. Everyone knows how great I am. If you don't think I'm great, I don't give a fuck. You know what I mean? Simple as. But
Dylan, you had a very solid performance, you know, coming back against Nikolai Pergan. First round submission win. Very impressive, and off the back of that, we were all thinking, right, what's next? You know, is it going to be one of the larger organisations? And I know that there were a number of organisations that we were in contact with you and looking to sign you. You mentioned KSW there, so KSW were obviously one of those. What happened there?
I had a contract. I had a fight. I was going to be fighting, obviously, last week, like last Saturday, and they wanted me to sign a 4-fight contract over 2 years. We had everything done out, kind of thing, and then within the foot, it was kind of like they'd taken a couple of weeks to get back to us. Nothing bad on their end. I think they had just kind of had so many shows going on at once that I just got caught up in the whirlwind. And then within that time, PFL had been on to me, and then the UFC had obviously been on to James about it was something to do with me filling in on a fucking Mason Jones or filling in for Danny Henry, both of them things or something like that. Like, you know what I mean? Just that my name would be in the conversations with them or whatever the fuck, like. And then PFL basically said about some tournament that they're doing in Europe in 2023, and I would be in contract with KSW, and they're not going to sign me if I am. So that kind of takes me more money out of my pocket because they were offering better money, PFL, and then it was a chance if you win the whole thing, if it happens or whatever the fuck, if it happens, that the winner will go over to the States and do the whole state tournament that Stevie Ray's in the final of now. So just one of those things, and then a lot of things just fell, and I don't know, it was just a lot of close fucking in. I don't know. It was just I had to stay out contract if I wanted to get signed by a bigger promotion, and it was a better option because PFL basically said if I had a sign for KSW, they wouldn't have signed me. So I would fuck myself, and I want $1 million.
What is the ideal scenario for you, Dylan?
To be rich and have a world title and have a farm with loads of dogs and my sisters to be happy and me to be happy and my family to be happy. That's about it. I'd be happy with that. So anyway, that takes me into that kind of, you know what I mean? I don't know, like, I look at myself now and I look at myself 6 years ago and what I looked at and all of this is completely different. Like, I don't know, like, I'd hate to be one of those fighters that went and done it all and got there to the UFC, and then at the end of it is still a broke ass bitch. Like, you know what I mean? Like, that'd kill me. All this shit just to be a broke ass bitch at the end of it. And now there's just loads of other feasible avenues to make money. At the end of it all, I am a prize fighter. You know what I mean? And I've got another good 6 to 8 years left in me before I want to bow out. Could easily get a PFL world title. UFC will offer me more money then. You know what I mean? Or if the UFC came jumping, I could jump onto that. Just anything. I don't know. Anything. Just as long as I can hand James Steele the world title, I'm cool. You know what I mean? If I can hand him a world title, Bell, I'm happy. Like, that's pretty much be the perfect world for me. Just to be able to go, here you cunt, hand it to him. Peace out.
How are you finding it? Obviously, you spoke with Andy before about the move over there with James, and it's really complimented you so far. It seems like it's been the right move so far. You must loving life over there by all accounts, and by looking at your Instagram and everything like that as well. Seems like you're having a real good time and getting some real good work in over there.
I think I must have went very gloomy for a long time, because a lot of people are like, you look very happy, and then I'm like, does that mean I wasn't happy beforehand? I don't know, man. I just I definitely I know one thing. So there's one of the wee boys in the gym is Stephen Clancy. You've probably seen him on my page and stuff. He just won a world Muay Thai fucking championship over in Canada. He's only 15. Great kid, great work ethic, whatever. Kid's amazing anyway. But went over, won this Thai thing. Anyway, comes back first week back, he's hitting pads or whatever, and I'm looking at him hitting pads with James, and I'm just like, I wish I had a meltdown when I was 15. I was actually like just giving out to James, going, if I had a meltdown when I was 15, I would have been a 2-weight world champion, retired, out here, bonds out, see you later, just coaching, doing the odd little thing on the side. Like, it's great, like, you know what I mean? It's great to see, you know what I mean? It's good, like, he doesn't like getting too much praise, like, he gets awfully shy, Jimmy, but it's great to be around. The environment at higher level is beautiful. Like, all me guys, like, I love every one of the guys. It's a real brother mentality, like, you know what I mean? If I'm away for, I don't know, if I'm away for a day, or even just disappeared, or if anyone disappears, we're all texting them like, oh, what's up, are you all good? It's, I don't know, it's just very similar to like what we had with Ashy and Paddy and stuff, you know, and I think that was something that was obviously I was yearning for, and just, it's nice, like, you know what I mean? I'm just happy all the time. I don't have other things holding me down either. It's nice. I don't know. Just it was like the perfect moment and the perfect thing to do, and it worked out well. Like, I kind of have to pat myself on the back for that, for actually getting the fuck up, because it's obviously fucking scary to move over to some mad Scottish land with a lot of mad people. You know what I mean? They're all screaming at you. They're like, "What the fuck are you talking about?" Like, you know what I mean? But now I'm fluent in Scottish slang, so it's good.
Dylan, when you move over to Scotland, it's like you're saying how it's all gone very well, but you're still having issues getting matched. Why is it? And why is it no one wants to fight you exactly? Why do you think no one wants to fight you?
It's not me. It's not a me thing. It's not like, oh, they don't want to fight me. Like, I'm a chinny toothless cunt. Like, you could, like, they're not gonna like nobody wants to fight anybody. Nobody wants tough fights at all. Like, anybody who's gonna be a tough fighter, anyone who's gonna be, I don't know, just a challenge or risk ruining you. Oh, it's like real old skill mentality now of boxing though. Like, you know what I mean? Of like, once that all goes, you're fucked. Like, you know what I mean? So you'll kind of see guys at higher level, like, wait until they're like 7-8-0, or at least like a nice solid record. Kind of similar to things like of me fighting this on forward. People with just records like that the whole time, just padding, and then the UFC don't care, like, which makes sense. Chris Vail said this to me years ago, like, the UFC don't look back and look at what the fight is, go into it and have a look at it, and they just see the green mark, and that's it, like, you know what I mean? So they're just going to sign you based on what your number is. So I get everyone's just playing the game now, every single person, every single fighter, but it's kind of just like, come on.
Do you think it's getting worse?
So,
do you think it's getting worse now, Dylan?
Oh, it's getting big time worse. Like, because obviously I had the break and I was gone. I was out of here, like, you know what I mean? Didn't have my name in anything. Didn't have my name in any pots. And then when I came back, I was like, oh, well, I'll fling my name into a pot and people might jump. Like, you know what I mean? It's like fucking. It's not even me. Like, Mark Young can't get fights. One boys Lorenzo can't get fights. It's even at amateur. Like, at amateur level, you have people picking and choosing fights. It's fucking weird, man. It's really weird. Like, because I blame the coaches. It's the coaches' fault. It's all the coaches' fault. If you're padding your boy or you're looking after matchups and you're just a fucking prick, you know what I mean? You should be. If your boy is a little bit afraid or he doesn't want to fight this fella because he's better than him, you should be slapping him and go, this is a fight I get, and shut him out. And if you don't want this fight, you don't get a fight. You know what I mean? This is a fight you get. This is a fight that, like, I don't know, everyone's just in it to post on social media nowadays, but like, if you're in it to go somewhere, you should be wanting the toughest tasks. Like, you know what I mean? fucking, I don't know. Everyone's just pussies most of the time when it comes to that shit. But I get it as well, like, because they're looking at it from a point of view of going, well, if I get to this record, I can jump on a contender series and I can get to 10-10. As in, I'm going to make 10-10. Isn't that the whole point of why most of us got into it anyway? Not about the 10-10 but to just make it to the UFC. So when there's such an easy route there, people are going to take the easier route. And you know what I mean? Can you fault them? No. Fair play to you, like, you know what I mean? But it's just that thing, like, you know what I mean? It's like you can moan about it, but at the same time, it's like I understand it, I get it. So it's almost like I can't really moan at it so much. You know what I mean? It's just like,
Yeah.
fair enough.
Are you kind of the? Are
Maybe
you
I'm
kind
just
of
getting old and wise.
Are you kind of the
young
opinion
vet.
now? Yeah. Like from when you started off, like you're definitely not a fella who took the easy road. You took a lot of hard fights on your come up as well. You know, I think the path has changed to get to the UFC now. Like you wanted to get to the UFC when you were young.
Let me just get this out here. My first debut fight in amateur MMA for like as an adult was against Yuri O'Rourke, who was fucking 10-2 with 2 titles. From amateur days, I've never taken an easy fight because there's no point. Easy fights give you easy answers, you know what I mean? So like that thing about my last fight that I said, that wasn't a fight. That was a competition. I went down. I didn't face any adversity and shit like that. It's one of the things that James says, a fight is something when you have to show something that you come through adversity, and you know what I mean, and it's not a fight until you face that, like, you know what I mean. So you know what I mean, it's always just like, that's just it, like, you know what I mean. You should just want to be fighting, even if you lose, like, you know what I mean. If you lose, especially amateur, because if you're losing at amateur, then it's a clear sign that it's pro isn't for you. Go get a normal job or go to college or something like that, like, you know what I mean. So I don't know. I'm quite brutal.
Dylan, who's the best featherweight in Ireland?
Me? That'd be silly. That'd be asking silly questions like that. What the fuck?
Who's if you can't say, I set you up for that one, to be fair. If you can't say yourself, who's the best featherweight?
Even when I'm not in Ireland, I'm still the best. So you still run D1. Don't ask it, you know. Except for if Coco asks, because then it's Coco's. Coco runs D1 if Coco's around, but if Coco's not around, I run D1.
That Craig Coakley, is it?
And congrats to Craig Coakley on the big win in the tournament for the 1FC contract. What an animal. That man is an animal. Oof. Best striker ever on the island. Best striker on the island by a country mile. Unbelievable. Him and Collie Martin doing amazing things. Don't get enough credit. But if I had to say the other best featherweight on the island is Lee Hammond. Hands down. The kid is amazing. He's amazing.
Dylan, I don't know how to actually ask this question without just saying it. Do you enjoy fighting?
Just fuck. Yeah, I love it. It's everything that I have. Like, it's all I have. It's like I was only watching an interview there with me when I was like 19 after my debut in Barra. I was just watching it because I was calling out Philpott. And it was amusing me. But in it, I said, I'm in my truest form when I'm out there fighting. And it's still true to this day. I don't get scared. I don't shy away from it. I love it. Like, I want it. I'm like a heroin addict, like coming out of rehab, and then it's kind of like I need another hit, like, you know what I mean. And I love it. Like, I love it. Like, even talking about it, you know what I mean. It's just, I love it. Like, I don't think I'd put myself through this much damage in my whole life and all this shit. And obviously, I've got an awful lot of great things from fighting, but fighting makes you mental, like, you know what I mean. And I was already a little bit mental before any of this shit. I didn't have a good card to play with, but it didn't help. Like, it sends you a little bit south, you know what I mean. But I couldn't imagine anything else, you know what I mean.
I feel like I've heard you talking before about, like, you know, like kind of fake fighters or like people who maybe shouldn't be trying to make a living out of fighting. Do you feel almost through circumstance you were forced into fighting as a career?
Nah, not at all. It chose it. It chose me, like, you know what I mean. I was a young kid getting bullied in school that fucking, you know what I mean, didn't have any friends, was a weird kid that just couldn't feel normal. And then I walked into this martial arts club and felt normal, you know what I mean. For the first and only time in my life, I felt normal. I felt like it's the only time I ever connected with people the only time I ever connected with anything. You know what I mean? Look where it's taken me now. Like, I'm living in Scotland. I have a beautiful girlfriend. I have 2 amazing dogs. I've got a team of brothers and best friends with a coach that's, you know what I mean, the best in the world, as in what he does, gives us 100%. I could ask for no more. I would get none of this without fighting. You know what I mean? And I'm so glad that I chose this life. I'm so glad that this life chose me. You know, and everything I've got. I've visited so many countries. Like, you know what I mean? I've ticked off like 22 countries, I think. A little tiny young boy from D1 with no teeth. You know what I mean? No teeth, no real future, no real hope outside of this. And I've seen and done so much amazing shit because of it. You know what I mean? And because of the amazing people I've met. So, yeah, no. I couldn't imagine me doing anything else. Could you imagine me doing anything else? Could you imagine rocking into Centra and me serving you smokes or something?
Do you think like some of the past hardships that you've had have kind of geared you up to get into the fight game? It's you have to be very mentally strong, obviously, along with everything else.
Compared to what everyone knows, they know shit about me. Like, you know what I mean? Everyone thinks they know loads about me. Like, you know what I mean? Nobody would be just sitting there like, oh, no, and yeah. No, I don't think so. No, I just fell into it. You know what I mean? I don't know. No, I fell into it. You know what I mean? Because the way I was before I hit martial arts was I was in that kind of state of like, so obviously that flight mode, I was in a complete flight. I didn't want violence. You know what I mean? The only violence I'd ever get would be at home, between fucking me and the sperm donor, like, you know what I mean? But other than that, like, I didn't want it. I hate it. It scared me a lot, like, you know what I mean? I didn't like it. You know what I mean? Even fighting in school and stuff, it was just one of those things I did because I thought, oh, well, I have to. It was either me or him, and most of the time I'd shy away from it, like, you know what I mean? Looking back on it, like, you know what I mean? But when I don't know, martial arts is always different. Like, you know what I mean?
Kind of gives you a bit of confidence, I guess, and it's definitely giving you some confidence, hey?
Definitely. I don't know. Like, I think actually knowing how to handle yourself is amazing. Like, you know what I mean? I would everybody should know how. Andy was even saying it to me that he was sparring down in Rhino the other week, and I was going, "What the fuck's wrong with you?" Like, you know what I mean? I was like, "You're smartly doing that," but it's like fair fuck to you because it lets people know that you're human. You're not made of glass. You're tough as fuck, but as well as that, you're also very vulnerable. Like, you know what I mean? It's one of those things that I think people get an awful lot of respect from when they actually step into a martial arts situation because it's like, I don't know, you get humbled very quickly, like, you know what I mean? So I don't know. I think everyone should do it, you know what I mean? And reporters, especially reporters and journalists, like, if you're a fast slob that can't make it up down your stairs, and you know what I mean, you cannot comment on fighters, like, you know what I mean? If you're an unfit little dweeb, like, you can't have an opinion because your opinion was left at the door when, you know what I mean, you weren't willing to get in yourself. I firmly believe that. I know that sounds like such a wank, but I don't know. It's the same way that I don't make comments on fucking footballers on Saturday night because I can't kick football. Like, you know what I mean? So I don't comment on footballers.
No career in media afterwards, no?
Me, I could have a career in media. Yeah, I'm very sellable. I'm just not in the PC world, like, or the PG world or anything like that. I'm too bad for that shit. I course too much. It is what it is. Maybe with the turkey smile or something I could probably do, but not looking like a crackhead. Definitely not looking like a crackhead. We are all thinking it, boys. What
are the biggest lessons that the fight game has kind of given you so far? And obviously you have a ways to go yet, but what are some of the biggest lessons that you've learned so far?
I hate that word game. I fucking hate it. Honestly, God. I more like calling it like a life, you know what I mean? Like a mafioso. It's like a life. Once you're in, you're out. You can't get out until you're dead or whatever the fuck.
Why did you hate the word game?
I don't know. Because it's not a game. You can die. Like, we can really easily die. Like, you know what I mean? Whereas when I think about going and having a game or something, I think about going out to the arcade and playing some fucking old school Pac-Man or something. You know what I mean? Whereas this is, I even struggle calling it a sport. Andy, I've said this here before. Like, you know what I mean? It's very barbaric. It's scary. Like, you know what I mean? It's a lot of do or die in there. So I struggle with that. Like, you know what I mean? It's hard. Like, in the martial arts and in the gym, it's different. But when you go out there to fight, it's hard to call it. It's fucking different. Like, you know what I mean? Someone trying to kill you. but everything. It's a bit different. It's hard for me to call it that, like, you know what I mean? It's weird.
Dylan, did you watch Mama Ash, as you call her, on Hell Week?
Mama Bash, I did indeed. She's some fucking woman, isn't she?
It's mad, isn't it?
I was only talking to her today because obviously I'm very much in close contact with Ash all the time. I ask her opinions on everything and anything. If I get contracts, I send them to her. If I get fights, I send them to her. She's the best, man, the first. And I think she only done a grappling match 2 weeks ago as well. Going back out and showing everyone who's boss, you know what I mean? In my opinion is Owen Roddy is obviously the best fighter to come out of Ireland, but without gender and stuff, it would be Ash. You know what I mean? Ash is that trailblazer, and it's mad to see her doing so well now. She's a teacher. You know what I mean? She went back to college, done a course. What an amazing woman. In the UFC, first ever everything, and then goes to college, becomes a teacher. Now she's on the telly. She's a fucking show off, just an amazing show off. I love her so much, and I love how well she's done on all this. If any of you, all of you have met Ash, I don't think there's a single person in the whole world that could meet Ash and say a bad word about her. Like, you know what I mean? She's amazing. Even now I owe so much to her. With my career, everything that I do daily, looking after myself and what I take, vitamin wise and what I eat, and obviously she'd give out to me for the amount of joints. I smoked an awful lot less joints when Ash wasn't around. I got clipped on the back of the ear, but
we could have done with her at the start of this interview.
No, we couldn't have. Ash, she knows now. Nah, she's amazing. It's great to see how well she's in, man. I don't think I could be on the telly though. You see them on that show, they're rough as fuck. One of them pure clattered one of the young fellas in the back of the bus. I was just sitting there bored watching.
He fucking walloped them, didn't he?
One of them he walloped them, pure walloped them. And my boy just turned and looked at me and goes, if that had been you, I was like, if that had been me, that's off my head. I'm grabbing him and I'm killing him on the spot. Honest to God. I was saying it to Ash, I was like, I wouldn't have been able for that. I would have snapped. I would have been like, who are you talking to, you donkey? Like, you know what I mean? And Ash was like, yeah, you would have been sent home straight away. I was like, sent home with charges. So I was like, fuck that.
Yeah, we won't get RTE on the phone, so to get you on the next season.
They're dying not to get me on the show. But I was like talking to her about her. She was holding the baton. Like, and she's there, he's like correcting her, but she's there laughing under her chin. Like, she's like, and I'm like, oh, she's some woman, man. I don't know. I wouldn't have, she's like terrified of heights, and she can't swim. Like, she can't swim. Like, she's like a dog out of water. Like, she can't swim. Like, and she's terrified of heights. Like, if she gets up to a certain height on a mountain and that, she'll cry and be like glued to the spot. Like,
Dylan, opponent aside, what's it like to be coming back to Ireland and fighting in Dublin again?
Yeah, it's cool. It's nice. It's cool. I don't know. I don't really care, to be honest. I don't really care. I know that sounds really bad, but I'm kind of in the idea of, like, I just want to get fights in really quickly. So I'm not really thinking about family and friends and stuff coming, if that makes sense. Like, or selling tickets, or I don't know. I don't know. It's nice. It's going to be nice. I don't know. I don't really care. I don't care.
Will you be main eventing, or what's the story there?
I don't know. They were going to try and get me on the September when they were going to put me on Johnny Jitsu's on the card. Stop.
Why are you laughing there? How do you see that fight going?
I don't care. Couldn't give a rat's. Nah. I have no opinion on that. I don't know. I don't care. You know what I mean? The two boys, I don't know. You know what I mean? I don't care. I don't know. How do you see it going? That's more important. I want to know your verdicts on the fight.
Tune into the Auld Triangle there next week. We'll be covering that.
Oh yeah, they're not not getting my time. Come on, get off. Next question.
What's the next year look like for you then? Obviously, you want to get a couple of fights in this year. You're looking at the PFL then. Is that kind of the one that's kind of standing out the most for you right now?
Oh, fuck it, Andy. Will I tell them? Will I just tell everyone? Will I?
Tell everybody.
You tell
Andy,
it. Tell anyone anything you want, Dylan.
Okay, so Alan Philpott is fighting some fella this weekend over somewhere in Australia, and if he gets through that fight unscathed, me and him are gonna fight in 4 weeks or 5 weeks on a show in Ireland somewhere. If he gets out unscathed, me and Alan Philpott will fight at featherweight or lightweight, whatever the fuck he wants to do. So yeah, that'd be cool. If you get that one in, and then I'll do the Cage Legacy one. Yeah, that'd be nice.
That's a big one. That's one that goes back a long
I've
way.
left that till the end. I'm good. That's like full circle, isn't it?
That's podcasting, Dylan. That's how you reel them in, and then they have to listen to the end.
I'm good. I'm fucking good. I'm telling you. So hopefully Philpott gets out unscathed, so I know I can scare him up, and then me and Philpott can duke it out for old time's sake to see who the king of the island is. It'll be me.
That's a cracking scrap.
Going, it's still me, boys. It's still me.
Yeah, that is an absolutely cracking scrap. If that can come off, that's a huge one for Irish MMA.
I think if he gets through unscathed, it'd be nice. Like, you know what I mean? You should get through. You can't be fresh. I'd like it. I think it'd be cool. It'd be a nice record. It'd be a nice name for my record. It'd be good for all time's sake, and it'll be nice to actually just, I don't know, fight Philpott. We're actually quite good friends now, so it'll be even funnier.
Look at this maturity in Irish MMA between the two of you.
No. I said he's friends with Deer. I never said he's friends with Nuke. No. Difference. They're not killed. You know what I mean? Me and him are killed, but they're not killed. So when they meet, it's business always. But you know what I mean? They have history. The Nuke and the Apprentice have history. Philpott and Deer we're killed. You know what I mean? We can talk.
Yeah. Dylan, is it mainly about money for you when it comes to fighting? I know you said world titles as well, but which is more important to you?
Money, fucking right, money, man. Anyone who says otherwise is an idiot. Because what's my title? What's my title on paper? My title is I'm a fucking prize fighter. You know what I mean? I'm a prize fighter. That's it. The end of it all, I'm a prize fighter. Imagine down out all this with the brain damage and shit that I'm gonna have, and then being broke. You know what I mean? Not being able to leave my kids and you know what I mean? There's obviously there's having kind of money, and then there's just being able to have money that you'll be able to live off, but as well set up other ventures or go other ways. You know what I mean? A world title means the most to me. I think if I didn't leave, and obviously the UFC world title is the main boom, but a PFL world title is just up there as well. And tell me otherwise. Anthony Pettis getting 750 grand to go out and get bodied by Stevie Ray twice. You know what I mean? Don't get me wrong. I wouldn't take 750 grand to take a hiding off Stevie Ray. You know what I mean? Not worth the money, not worth the brain damage. I get a taste of it in sparring, Stevie is so fucking nice to me that he doesn't take me head off, because he could. You know what I mean? That left hand is a bomb, you know what I mean? But I get great working with Stevie. Ever since I came, I've gotten amazing working with Stevie. And for that whole Pettis camp, I was getting working with that. And I was just thinking the whole time I went to Jimmy one day, I went, James, he couldn't pay me enough money to go out there and fight him on a Saturday night. It'd be painful. You know what I mean? Fuck that, you know what I mean? So, but when you see it, it's it is what it's all about. And anyone who says it's not, why else would you have all these little idiots going and doing all this bare knuckle shit? You know what I mean? After all the careers, whatever, Chad Mendes, amazing career apart from being a little Jews head, he still has to go and do bare knuckle. He's not going and doing that because he wants to go and do bare knuckle. You know what I mean? There's nobody's going to convince me otherwise. But is that not sad? Is that not a bit sad? If you were looking at it from your shoes, is that not a bit sad? A former world champion contender, multiple time, whatever, highlight reel knockouts, highlight reel, everything. You know what I mean? One of the best to ever lace up gloves in his weight class, and he still has to go out and fight bare knuckle just because he's broke at the end of it. You know what I mean? Is that not sad? Now, don't get me wrong. It's fair for Mendes because he was a Jews head, but in general, is that not sad? You know what I mean? Is that not a bit sad? If you're sitting there looking at it, I know personally me sitting there looking at it going, fuck. Even the fact, like, Ash is another great example. The fact that Ash had to go back to college, you know what I mean? That she didn't have enough money off of fighting to survive and make a living in this real life, like, you know what I mean? Is that not sad? That's sad, like, that's sad to me. That's heartbreaking. Because someone who gave all that body to it and everything to it, don't get me wrong, Ash still left an amazing name behind or whatever, but it's still like you'd want that to be flush in our pockets and be like, at least have enough money to go and buy a fucking house, you know what I mean, or something like that. I don't know. I think so anyway. I don't think that's mad to look at, like, you know what I mean? Especially when you're fighting. When you look at the UFC as the Premier League division, so it is the Premier League. So when you're looking at it like that and you're going, so you fought at the Premier League of fighting, and you know what I mean? You don't have it to I don't know. I just think it's sad. It is sad. You know what I mean?
What can you do to avoid that happening to yourself?
Just free for money. I'm grand. I'll be grand. I'll make money. I'm amazing. You know what I mean? I'll have businesses and shit. I'll have gyms. You know what I mean? I'm gonna be an amazing coach. I'll be fresh. I'm not too worried about that. I've always skated boy with fuck all. I'll skate boy for the rest of my life with fuck all. It'll never bother me in the slightest. You know what I mean? I'll walk around wearing pennies clothes when I'm in my 30s or 40s, and so will my kids, and they'll be fresh and they'll be happy. As long as my two little sisters are fresh and looked after, I'll be cool. I'm cool. I don't really care. But like, I'm too good not to be rich, so I'll end up just having money because I'm so good. But that's how it happens. But I don't really care about that. It's more for the younger kids coming up. It's more for the little young fellas that are gonna pour that everything into it, and at the end of it, not know, like, you know what I mean? That's the heartbreaking one. You know what I mean? So I just like educating kids nowadays and just trying to steer people in the right direction. Luckily, it's getting better because look at PFL, look at KSW, look at all these shows popping up and giving good contracts. I was offered an amazing contract with KSW. I sent that on to Andy. Andy, I'll tell you, actually, it was a great contract. I think it finished at 8-2. You know what I mean? So it was a good contract. You know what I mean? I'm still getting like a G up for legacy. Like, I'm getting good money. I'm getting more money than anyone fighting a cage warriors. That's the main thing.
Dylan, we really, really appreciate the time. You're honest, sometimes probably to a fault for yourself, but we do, Jesus, I appreciate it. You shoot straight from the hip, and I completely agree with everything you were saying there about the UFC, not the UFC, but just about fighting in general and people not getting their worth. We had Joe Duffy on recently, and he's roofing now, and I'm sure, look, that probably gives him some fulfillment these days. But he should be in that position.
You know what I mean? How, like, I hate Duffy. I think Duffy's a twat. You know what I mean? But
that's terrible. A lovely man.
He's a twat. He's a fake Irishman. He's a twat. He was Welsh, he was English, he was fucking Canadian, and then all of a sudden, after the whole hoo-ha with fucking Connor, he was, I'm Irish, Joe Duffy. You're a twat. I always thought you were a twat.
Hang on, back to the positives. You were just saying nice things about him.
But anyway, personal feelings aside or whatever, I'm sure he is a lovely bloke, and that's why it's sad, because it's like, he shouldn't be out roofing, because that going for, I don't know how many times I've seen him on the fucking telly on a Saturday night fighting, and he's out roofing. I'm sure he's a great roofer, but it's sad, like, you know what I mean? That's what I'm saying. So when you would have had with Joe Duffy after he beat Connor, and you would have went to him, what's next for you? What do you want? You went, I want a UFC world title. I want to be in the UFC. How the fuck did that go for you? You know what I mean? 3 letters that meant fuck all, and don't care about you. How did that go for you? So I'm just kind of like, don't base it all on that. Like, if you can get money elsewhere, go and get money, like, you know what I mean? But it's sad, like, that's sad. But anyway, lads, I'll see you later. I'm going to bed. This is going to kill me. Thank you for having me on.
Thank you for joining us. We're looking forward to seeing you. We'll be tuning in, regardless of any opponent or any matchup. We'll be tuning in to watch the Nuke, Dylan Tuke, fighting in December on Cage Legacy.
Philpott, stay injury free so I can get it on with you soon, please. Thank you. Bye. Love yous.
Thanks, Dylan.
See you later.
We'll talk to you again. Excellent interview as always from Dylan Tuke. Great
Some
lad to have
boyo.
on. Unbelievable, yeah. Always leaves us a few nuggets there, and dropped a bit of a bombshell at the end there, Andy, as well, didn't he? About Alan Philpott.
Could you imagine? I would love to see Dylan Tuke versus Alan Philpott.
That's a throwback to 2015 right there.
Jesus, yeah.
I feel like it could be jumping the gun a little bit now, if I'm honest. But I think we're probably far away from that being a reality, but would be great in theory.
We planted the seed, as they say. We planted the seed on the Auld Triangle here, remember. Right, let's talk about some upcoming events, upcoming fights. And let's start with the big one. Bellator Dublin, lads. It's coming up soon. We don't think we're going to get the opportunity to talk about this event before it happens. Maybe we will, maybe we won't. That's all up in the air right now, but we're going to talk about it nonetheless right now. And, Andy, you've had a chance to talk to a bunch of guys, and you'll be talking to a few more lads on the card already. So I think, you're in a really good position there to kind of give us a little bit of insight on a couple of these fights and the way the lads are thinking as well. But, looking at the card, the first big fight that stands out to me is the return of Carl Moore. Something that I'm really, really looking forward to. Carl's been away now for a couple of years. He's coming back against Carl at Brixton. And I think, that's a great fight, number one. And it's just great overall to see Carl coming back in and competing again for the first time since 2019.
Yeah, it's just brilliant to see him back. For someone who was a champion in Cage Warriors, gone for a second title, people talking about him signing to the UFC, and then he just he disappeared not disappeared. He was out injured and stuff for like 18 months, but then we haven't seen him in 3 years. He went to Bellator, got a win in Bellator, and then we haven't seen him. Was great. I spoke with him down in SB. I'm not sure when the interview of so many lads interviews that we're gonna have to kind of spread them out a little bit, so it'll be out at some point this week, I imagine. But it's worth listening to. He is eyeing up the winner of Yoel Romero versus Melvin Manhoef, and my God, could you imagine? He's got a tough task in his hands in Carl Brexton. This is a guy who's only been beaten by the likes of UFC sitting UFC light heavyweight champion Yuri Prohaska, Phil Davis, and I think there was another, I can't remember his name, I think a Russian fighter on Bellator, where he's something like 12-2. He's a solid fighter. So Carl Brexton's a solid fighter as well, and Carl kind of needs to get through him first. But could you imagine,
sweet baby Jesus, that Carl Moore versus Yoel Romero? My God, lock up the kids for that one is what I say. Creature, when you're looking at the Bellator Dublin card, is there any, maybe a little bit further down the card, we might talk a little bit about the main event and something else, but is there anything that really sticks out to you on the card, or anyone that you're in particular looking forward to seeing?
Kieran Clark, as always, must watch action. Every single time he fights, it's entertaining. The crowd gets behind him, and he's just he's so well rounded. Every time he gets in there, puts on a show. Last time he put where he was last time he was down 2 rounds, and then he came back and got the sub, and
that was the fight before. That was the Jordan Barra. No, the last one was the injury. Was the at the end of the first round, your man
was it? Yeah,
he got injured.
I was thinking I was mixed. I forgot about that one. So Kieran Clark, literally every single time I'm always tuning in, and everyone gets behind him. So that's the one.
Yeah, he's looking to kind of get this under his belt, Andy, and start getting a couple of fights over stateside as well. When he was talking to you, that was the hopes, and when he was kind of talking to us, I guess on a couple of episodes back as well, that was kind of the same wave of thinking that he was going with as well.
Yeah, he needs to be more active. I think he'd like to be more active, and I think he'd like to get on. We know it's ad nauseum, February, September. That's the cards in Ireland. So they need, if you want to fight more than twice a year in Bellator, you got to go abroad, and so I think that's what he's looking for. I think Dara Kelly's looking for the same. These fighters need to be more active, especially in the younger stages of their career. But I'm very interested to see how he gets on, and he's fighting a guy, George Sasu, who's only 4-2, which on paper you look at him saying, Kieran's fought. I'm gonna forget his name now. What was the guy who fought back in the Jean and Doy? Beat him. That was a big win. He was 8-1 at the time. Fought Jordan Barton 6-1. Abu Tankara 7-2, and he's fighting a 4-2 guy. But George Sasu has fought. I think one of his only, or he's beaten. Again, I hate this pronunciation. Orackling.
Orackling.
The Chinese fighter who's fighting in the UFC. Yeah. He's beaten him.
A decent fighter too.
Exactly, and now it was a custom rule, so I don't know what the rule set was or whatever, but you know, if you're beating him in combat sports, then you're probably pretty decent. So the 4-2 record's probably a little bit deceiving there.
Ah, yeah, and 4-2 record is pretty standard, but yeah, like you said, a couple of good wins there, and then the losses are against pretty decent competition.
It's a great card, isn't it? What do you?
It's a brilliant card
overall.
Overall, like it's like the main event, Benson Henderson and Peter Queally. Goodness gracious, it's brilliant to see Peter Queally in that position. Great to see him back from his injury as well. But Jesus, it's a tough one for him coming back off injury. And it'll be interesting to see how he goes in there. You know, he probably would admit himself he probably didn't perform up to his standards against Pitbull, and the second fight was unlucky and got caught there pressing the action. But you know, he'll have his hands full against Benson as well, and it's going to be really kind of it's just going to be a grueling fight, really, from both guys. They both push forward. They both stay landing shots throughout the fight. And I think, you know, I haven't really had a chance to kind of look deep into tape or anything like that to give like in-depth analysis, but we'll likely be doing a big preview on this on the Severe channel with all of us involved. So we'll probably get more in-depth and in detail for that one as well.
Such a huge fight though, isn't it? Like we go on, like, to be fair, the flip side, we always talk about how the lack of progression for fighters, but for the likes of a Peter Queally, like, to get these type of fights where he's after, you know, he's fought for a title, he's now fighting Benson Henderson, like, these are huge fights.
A win here and he gets another title shot for sure, and that's it, and he deserves it. Like, Peter Queally has been through the ringer in his MMA career, never took a fight, went off and fought in the back arse of nowhere against the toughest guys. And you know what I mean? They say an old dog for the hard road and a pup for the pat. And Peter Queally is definitely an old dog, and he took the hard road, and he deserves to be putting opportunities like this. And in the main event, we'll hear Zombie blasting through the stereos again, and everyone will be going mad. It'll be deadly. I'm jealous. So
it kind
jealous
of reminds you like what Nate Diaz was saying this weekend. Like, you know, who's still here? You know, in Nate Diaz's mind, it's like, it's not about who's the champion of the division. It's like, who's still going, who's still here. Exactly. I feel like Peter Queally's one of those fighters. He's still there.
Yeah, absolutely. And look, this is a kind of a card too that has massive implementations on a lot of the fighters. Implications, yeah. Jesus. Stop the lights. Leah McCourt coming back.
Teamwork.
Leah McCourt coming back. She's looking for a win. Brian Moore looking to get back in the win column as well. Fighting back at home. Derek Kelly will be looking to kickstart his pro career, looking to go 2-0 against Kyle Stevens as well. Lots and lots of stories and lots of talking points. Can't forget about Pedro Carvalho, who's taken on Mads Burnell in an absolute
That's a banger of a fight as well.
And even though they're not Irish, fucking Yoel Romero and Melvin Manhoff. Stop the lights. The card is ridiculous. It's going to be great to be there, be a part of it.
It's the best one. I think it's the best one they've put on in Dublin
in quite some time, I think. Yeah, it's been a really, really good card, and it's definitely going to deliver.
Is there any word on Brett Johns getting back on it? I would love to see him stay on the card.
I thought he was back on it.
It's not on the Tapology. No, this one isn't on.
I'm sure
you can never trust those Tapology pricks now, to be fair.
You heard a rumor of who he was fighting, and then it turned out to be true, Andy, I thought, with Brett Johns.
Oh yeah, Jordan Winsky.
Yeah. That's it.
I was given. Yeah. Oh yeah.
I'm almost certain that was made official, and it came out in the press release as well. So
yeah, I was given a record, and I went snooping, and it turned out to be correct, but I didn't actually report it. So who gives a shit?
That's it. It's happening, and we'll break down all the action after it happens as well. Possibly on the next one. we won't get into our next recording, which is going to be a little bit difficult, but nonetheless, we shall move on into the Euros. The IMMAF European Championships are going down soon, Caoilte. You're heading over there to cover the event live and in person. Give us all the dirty details of that competition.
Yeah, so can't wait to head over. It's in Italy this time, in a place called Legnano Sabbiadoro. So I can't wait. It looks lovely on a Riviera.
Say that again.
Give me a second. Legnano Sabbiadoro.
Oh, I love it. I love it.
Wow, that was beautiful.
Flown off the tongue nicely. But yeah, so Europeans are on fairly decent entries so far. Some good names coming back. Some returning champions like Magdalena Chaban and that. But for the details, it's on from 27th September, 1st of October. As said, on Italy, Ireland already have a team confirmed heading over. I'm not going to go through every single athlete, so because there's a fair amount from there. But look, it's a very good squad. I would expect Ireland to do pretty well, and I'd be expecting a few medals anyway coming back. It's a very strong team heading out there. And from looking at some of the divisions, there's some tasty matchups there that I'd love to see happen at some point during the competition. But yeah, well, I guess we'll speak more about it in the next one, and depending on what day that falls on, whatever. But fantastic stuff. Can't wait to see them all live, and can't wait to get back to an IMMAF.
So, what dates and how can we watch that if you're not as lucky as yourself to get over there and witness it live?
Yeah, well, it's like 27th of September is the first day of competition, and then the finals, so senior finals, be on the 1st of October, and I think it's the junior finals will take place on the 30th of September, because there's two, you have the juniors and seniors, so the junior finals are one day, the seniors on the other. But
excellent.
And you can watch on IMMAF TV. There you go.
Boom. Love it. And we'll try to keep you as up to date as possible on SevereMMA.com too, I'm sure, as well. So best of luck to Team Ireland heading over there to the Euros. Hopefully we'll get a good old medal scoop. Back to...
And if you don't win, you'll be left in Italy.
Yeah.
Don't tempt anyone.
You'll be sleeping with the fishes, as they say. More amateur action is going on at UKFC the weekend, Caoilte. A couple of guys fighting there. Give us a bit of a lowdown on who's going to battle over there.
Oh yeah, there's a few on in UKFC. I actually think I'm missing one from this as well. So Jamie Abbott-Bissett is going to be competing at it. Michael Shields is going over there, and Dennis Frimpong is fighting for a title, isn't he, against Chris Morris, who he's been terrorizing.
Jesus Christ, the amount of shit talk that Dennis has spoken. He won't be able to come out for a month if he loses this fight. It's unreal.
I shut down social media if I lost.
Jeez, I feel like making that leave Brittany alone, but just leave Chris alone.
Yeah, fucking hell.
My God.
It's a lot. But look,
that poor man.
It's a part of the
game.
game.
Poor girlfriend.
That's it. Yeah. And fair. Looking forward to seeing those lads and how they get on. Putting a lot of pressure on himself, Dennis, to go out there and perform. It'll be exciting to see, create some hype. So we shall see how it all goes down.
God, could you imagine if you lost?
The man's good as well. Like, it's a tough fight.
Oh, Alan Philpott is fighting on Eternal MMA, Andy. That's what Dylan Tuke spoke about in his interview with us. That's the test that he has to come through in that fight. Any details about that? Time and date and what's happening with that, Andy?
Yeah, so Alan Philpott, I had it written down here somewhere. He's fighting in Eternal MMA. I think it's the 27th, I'm going to say. No, it's the, sorry. 16th, this week. Friday, September 16th, Alan Philpott is fighting against Diego Pereira, I believe, in the featherweight division. So I think this is a fight that kind of was being postponed and a few bits and pieces, but he's back in action. So obviously Alan returned from a long layoff there not so long ago, and he lost, but he was kind of in really, really good spirits, where he's just trying to be active and get back in there and grow. And I think that he seems to be in a bit more of a positive mindset, which is great. So yeah, I'm very interested to see Alan back in action. One of the vets of Irish MMA, one of the OGs, and if we could get, if he can win this fight, and then if they can make that Tuke fight happen, then dear God,
be unreal. So yep, Diego Pereira and Alan Philpott that going down, which will be this Saturday, but it'll be probably Friday, but it'll probably be Saturday for us, will it, if it's on over in his neck of the woods, or is that?
Oh God, yeah, probably. Yeah. It'd be Friday.
Yeah, perfect.
Because they're ahead of us. That's how time differences work, right?
Don't ask me, man. I have so many
science.
times. It's ridiculous. I can't keep the time at all. It's terrible trying to keep pumping 2 or 3 time zones, but nonetheless, I try my best. Also, Maga Zubarov has a title fight in his hometown for his professional debut against Dennis Gunn Gonzala at Titan Fight Night. I think that's the boy. I think the lads from Fancy are heading over to cover that as well. Is that the one that?
That's the one. So
MMA in depth.
Yeah. So
shout out to two lads, Ruan and Dave.
Yeah, they're heading over to cover that.
It's 5-5s, you know.
5-5s, yeah, title fight, yeah.
Jesus, in his first fight.
That's his pro debut as well, isn't it?
Yeah,
Man,
that's a bit mad, isn't it?
That's crazy. Fair play.
And his opponent has Dave was showing me, sent me the video of it. His opponent's just on the back of a this bare knuckle boxing win as well back in Russia. Your man looks good as well. He sparked a lad in bare knuckle boxing, so he's coming into this in a fairly.
This sounds like the grimiest type of MMA.
This is literally like the depths of MMA right here, isn't it?
That's it. We'll get up close and personal look at it, I guess, with the MMA and depth lads as well.
Yeah,
so
I'm actually, after hearing that, I'm even more I'm more interested to see the behind the scenes and this type of stuff. So
Dara Tolman and Kieran Breslin have been announced as the main event for Clan Wars. That's another great fight as well. That I'm looking
Is that
forward
the featherweight? That's is that the vacant featherweight title? The
so.
Les Sweaty's title, maybe, or maybe
Believe so. It would be for
this is
interim.
pro.
Oh, this is pro.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah. They bought the pro records now, I think.
Yeah,
100%,
you're dead right. I'm just talking shite.
And let's finish off with Pa Lehan, who fights this Friday at Combatche Global, and he has a new opponent. It's a big trend at Combatche Global lately, is they like switching out the opponents for fighters, sometimes with a couple of weeks' notice, sometimes at last minute notice.
Did you ever go orienteering as a child or as a teenager? Did they do orienteering? No, it's
that
where,
sounds like a Dublin thing there. Now.
It is. It's kind of like a scout thing.
What, you do that? You do that in private school or what?
It's like you get a map and then you go off and then you've like a thing on the map and then there's like something like stuck to a tree and you go up to the tree and you pick the letter out and you think, oh, there's another clue here, and then you figure down 2 kilometers away. Basically, that's like what it is, trying to watch a Combatche Global show or follow along any sort of information as to Irish fighters on there. So it's orienteering.
There you go.
There you go.
A good analogy for some people. Not for me and Twitch having a fucking... I know, I've heard of orienteering before, but I've never...
man, everyone does it. It's fucking real cool, man, I swear.
Yeah, no, I swear to God. Right. Hey, you going orienteering this weekend, then? Yeah, let us know that. But he's taking on Jose Ferreira, whatever you call him. He's Chilean, 8-0. A good test for Pa. Just talking to Lee Moog before we started recording there. That fight actually fell out 2 weeks ago, so not all that last minute for Pa, who's coming in there.
Fresh off the newswire. Well, one thing we can say about Combatche Global is that they keep changing fights and they keep letting us break fights, so we can't complain too much. So we might get like 2 or 3 breaking news fighting stories from Combatche because they keep swapping. Combatche Global is actually a front for SevereMMA.
exactly. Yeah, exactly.
It doesn't exist. There are no fights. That's why you can't see them.
Just give us 3 names and we'll break 3 separate stories. But no, I'm looking forward. Look, this is Pa's getting into the business end of things now. I think the Martin Bravo fight was flirted with. That didn't happen. Levy was his last opponent. That fell through. He's coming in against an undefeated Chilean here, 8-0, Jose Ferreira, and a couple of more wins. If he goes out there and gets a win against an undefeated guy here, I think he's going to be right in the mix for a title fight. He's ranked number 3 in the lightweight division, I believe number 10 in the featherweight division, and the world is his oyster right now, but he has to go out there and stay winning, coming back from injury. I'm always excited to see a Pa Lehan fight.
Do we know what weight class this one's at then? Because it was 150-pound catchweight, wasn't it, for Levi?
Yeah, I believe so, and it's not something that I did ask Lee Moog either, but I guess details of that will come out. We'll keep you updated there, but yeah, the last one was a catch weight of 150, so I'd imagine they'll try to keep it at the same weight. It won't be any higher than 155 anyway, but he's kind of keeping himself kind of in tune for both divisions there, keeping him at 150 catch weight, so it'll be interesting. Like,
Title shot. It's got to be title shot next for him if he gets this win.
Up there, title eliminator or title shot next. If he goes out there and puts this guy away, I think, he'll be coming pretty much undeniable there. And there's a big race going on at Combatche now for titles. Franz Malambo is in there. He's flirting with trying to get in there. Paz kind of up there in the rankings and not too far away. Dee Begley has 2 wins on the bounce. She's staking her claim as well. It's fucking great to see. We're taking over
Combatche Ireland.
Yeah, Combatche Ireland. That's it. Yeah, brilliant.
They're all going to come back speaking Spanish at this rate.
Any final thoughts? Any final takeaways, fellas, before we wrap it up? Episode 17 is almost in the books again. We're going to have plenty to talk about again in the next episode as well. And it was great to have Dylan Tuke on this time just to kind of give us a lowdown on what's been going on with him and some future plans as well. Take it away, Andy. Any takeaways, anything to add before we wrap it up?
Oh, God. I suppose, look, we shoot from the hip, as we say here. We criticize sometimes. We give our honest opinions. But isn't it fucking great how busy Irish MMA is? There's a lot of great things going on. There's a lot of great shows going on. A lot of fighters active. A lot of opportunities for fighters. There's people fighting all over the world. We're getting... we've a couple of UFC fighters, so it's got, I don't know, I feel like it's moving in the right direction. So it's not all bad. We may pick out a few little bad things here and there, but sure, look, we have to. So
these things happen in MMA, don't they, Caoilte?
That's the way it goes, isn't it?
It surely is. Don't come for the neck, lads. We're just want to call it down the line.
No, fucking do.
Come for Andy's neck. Andy's like our spokesperson. Andy gets all the complaints. So if me or Caoilte say anything bad, just go and talk to Andy and let him give him an earful over what we said.
Yeah.
We'll continue to do what we do. We'll say it as it is. We'll call it down the line, and that's what we've got to do. And that kind of wraps us up for episode 17 of the Auld Triangle. Head on over and hit the like and hit the subscribe button on the SevereMMA YouTube. Hit the rate button on the Spotify, on SoundCloud, on Apple iTunes or Apple Podcasts, whatever they call it now. Like, subscribe, share it with a friend, share the good word, spread the good word. Thank you everybody for listening. We really appreciate all the support. We appreciate all the kind legends. Yeah, we appreciate all the kind words, and we appreciate all the bad words as well, and all the some of the giving out that comes our way.
Caoilte is going to meet about 17 of you in between now and the next episode as well, because he's always telling us about all these. I think Caoilte is making people up to us, seeing all these people who listen to the podcast.
Yeah, no, every time we're talking to Caoilte,
they're all the ones I train with, really. So like, they just walk into the gym. Oh yeah, well.
I absolutely love it. I'm looking forward to the next episode already. I hesitate to say when it's going to be. It might be a little bit sooner than you expect. It might be maybe a little bit later than you expect. But that's up in the air. We're going to figure that out. But we will be back for episode 18, no doubt, whenever that may be. And we will break down all the action and all the reaction from Irish MMA, as we always do. Like I said before, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and share the good word. We will talk to you the next time. Goodbye, good luck, and dog bless.
Slán go fóill.